Hello everyone and welcome to this brand new video. So this Sunday, or actually last Sunday, sorry, I had a 2-hour masterclass with one of my clients. He runs a business coaching program and I just thought I would just share it here on YouTube. It's literally a 2-hour masterclass that goes over all of the systems that we leverage for growing your online coaching business, and it goes really in depth. It goes over ads, it goes over retargeting, it goes over positioning, it goes over your niche, it goes over a lot of different things that is huge problems for online coaching businesses nowadays. And it walks you literally how to implement everything. So I think this is going to be extremely valuable for you guys. This isn't going to be a Netflix video. It's going to be boring. It's going to be intense, but it's really going to get you a lot of clarity. So make sure you watch this video completely through. And yeah, this is going to be crazy. So stay tuned and enjoy the video.
Awesome. Cool. So this is going to be about the online coaching workshop. Now, obviously, I had to give this thing a title, but I'm going to be touching on a lot of different things. And my consulting company, which I help people currently, is called Creatr.One. That's why I see the logo at the bottom. But let me just jump right into things. So the one thing everyone needs to understand on this call is that building a micro personal brand is the most powerful thing that you can build today. And what I mean by that is having a small subsect in the world teaching people a certain skill that only you possess. Now, this is something that is made up of your life experience, of the knowledge that you've been able to acquire through life, through overcoming your own challenges, and teaching people and speeding up their process and giving value from that kind of side of things. It grows and builds trust exponentially through building your brand, and it's an appreciating asset, meaning when you start a personal brand, you know, you're going to get more growth over time, things compound, and it's something that can grow your income as well. And that's why it's extremely powerful. So all of these people, obviously there's more controversial people in here as well, but all of these people have built their personal brands, whether you like it or not, right? Maybe some of you know Tony Robbins, Alex Hormozi, Elon Musk. Elon Musk acquired the biggest social media platform, X or Twitter, and he's the richest man in the world, and he's building his personal brand in real time. And other people, right? So obviously there's Jay. These are actually personal clients of mine, but this is James, helping people with storytelling, helping people with tennis, helping people with fitness. And I just wanted to pop up a few examples so you can understand how versatile this can be. Selena's helping parents, in the digital age. This is Bold Cafe. He's got a huge YouTube channel. He helps men that are struggling with bolding overcome that struggle and find more purpose in their life. There's Brian helping people with their next Hyrox race. There's Imtiaz helping business owners with overwhelm, with stress, and those type of things. So there's a lot of other examples. Art helping, helping men that have lost their fathers with that kind of wound. More fitness coaches, a 2017 natural world champion, helping personal brands be more authentic, financial literacy, helping people with psoriasis, fitness. There's lots of different things, and probably you guys also have unique skills that you can offer. The point is, you can turn your lived experience and knowledge into high ticket changing coaching packages. Now, this isn't going to go super in depth in that, but if you have a skill that you possess and that you've helped yourself overcome your own problems, you can offer that to people in exchange for money, obviously. And we're going to get into the strategy on this call about how to actually build this. Like, what is the steps? How do you advertise? How do you create content? How do you build a personal brand around yourself so that you can build a trusted audience that comes to you for your knowledge? Jay, before letting you guys in, told me that there's people doing a lot of different things, menopause, Excel sheets, all sorts of things. And when you build your brand around these kind of key bits of knowledge, you draw in the exact person that wants to work with you and you only. So let's get into that. So there's a few different main core niches that I like to mention here because you guys obviously you want to make money, you want to make impact, and everyone is kind of with some regard boxed into these four different categories, right? Some is a mix of each, but it's wealth, health, spirit, and relationships. Spirit is like happiness or well-being, but everyone's in that different type of box. Some of you may be helping with people and their health, with their wealth, with their relationships, dating, coaching, and stuff like that, and obviously spirit. So today I'm going to show you this system. And the reason why I love showing this system to my clients and to you is it's very simple. And I love simple things. And it's going to show you how I build my brand, how I make my clients build my brand, and hopefully how you guys can understand how ads and this whole system works. So when it comes to this, we're going to touch on a few different things. We're going to touch on ads and organic content because at the end of the day, every one of you guys probably know that you need traffic. You need people to see your stuff. Back in the day, you would have a lemonade stand, and the only traffic you could rely on is foot traffic, right? People walking by your stand and seeing your product. Now we're living in the digital age where traffic is online. Organic, meaning putting out content that people can watch and understand and see. And then there's ads. And probably you guys understand what ads is, but it's the same thing as organic, but it's just predictable, right? You put in a certain amount of money that you give Facebook or Meta, and they show it to people that are specific. The second point is building your audience, obviously, from that traffic. They follow you, they're interested in what you do, and you nurture them with content. Now, there's two different types of content, right? There's short form content and there's long form content. I just put Instagram and YouTube here, but let me give you examples of both. So, short form content is TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, those type of platforms where you're getting a little bit of attention, right? You're getting this surface level attention, you're getting people interested. There's platforms like YouTube, some people like newsletters, and that's long form content, which builds further depth, further trust. And that's what we're trying to build here. We're trying to build trust. And people kind of think, okay, if I just do short form content, I'm fine. Or if I just do long form content, I'm great. The best way to do it is have a combination of both to get initial interest and then build depth through those long form platforms. Because ultimately, you want people to spend time with you. You want to build a relationship with them. You want to give them value up front. So they're like, wait a second, Tris or Andy or Marie, I've watched a bunch of their content and I trust them. I think I want to get on a call with them and see how they can help me. Okay, does that make sense so far, guys? Cool. So the third part, which I think is super important, is I call it's a community, but it's really, an email list. It's email marketing. Why is email marketing important? Email marketing is important because that's the only true asset that you own. If your YouTube gets shut down, if your Instagram gets shut down, if your LinkedIn or your TikTok gets shut down, you don't have anything. But your email list you can keep forever. And it's your true audience, your true fan base that really wants to learn more from you. And a lot of you might be like, okay, I don't know if email marketing works. It definitely works because the good thing about email is there's a lot of people that open those emails, right? Maybe some of you guys got an email list, but you can have 20% open rates, 30% open rates, 40% open rates on Instagram and YouTube and all these other platforms. There might be a smaller percentage of the people that follow you that actually see your content again. So it's a good place to nurture, okay? And that's where you gather your leads, right? The fourth part, and this is especially important for service-based businesses, coaching, anything where people have to get on a call with you, right? If you're selling a t-shirt, people don't really have to get on a call with you. They look at the t-shirt, they buy the t-shirt. If you're selling something that is a bit more intricate, that's higher priced, you have to have a conversation with them. And that's why having conversations is super important from converting those people into clients, into high ticket paying clients. And the easiest way to grow your business at the start is working very closely with people. So I recommend everyone's in different stages on this call, but I recommend everyone working very closely with clients so they can get feedback, so they can get testimonials, they can get great results. And this, getting clients from these conversations goes back into the ecosystem, right? Because you can leverage great results for your ads, for your content, and the whole thing kind of goes around again. So You might be noticing, okay, there's customers and there's clients. Like, what's the difference between this? The difference is, in my mind, a customer is kind of like a low ticket kind of product, right? A client is someone that pays you a lot of money that you're working closely with. So this isn't necessarily good for everyone because I'm explaining this in a broad sense. But maybe you've got a big email list and you're like, okay, let me see if I can sell a low ticket product and get people just a little bit interested, give people a taste of what my service is, right? Maybe you give them a PDF or a little checklist or a little training, and they pay a low ticket price for it. It's a good way for your customers to get a little sense of how it's like to work with you and then be upsold to a client. So there's lots of different ways you can do it. If you're starting off, forget low ticket, work with people one-on-one and try to get the best results for them because you're looking for results. Does that make sense, everyone? Awesome. Cool stuff. So the problem that most people are having with growing their personal brand is they're struggling with growth, they're attracting the wrong people, they don't know how to convert. Maybe you've got multiple offers to satisfy your different people in your audience. Maybe you're stuck in the content hamster wheel. You're posting all the time and you're like, geez, I can't get any clients. What's going on? And you need clarity around your brand. And we're going to touch on all of those things today. So yeah, stay tuned and buckle up. So to solve these different problems, I've got four different kind of main systems I use. So it's called the one niche. So everyone's aware of a niche. By the way, I call it the one something because it's part of my brand, my unique mechanism, which we'll get into a bit later. But you want to build your one niche, so something that differentiates yourself from everyone else. Your one offer, so something that is a core offer that you offer people, a core transformation. And then one VSL. VSL stands for video sales letter, if you don't know. And this is the core piece of content that's going to do a lot of conversion for you. Because on social media, and the main reason we're doing this and not putting up a lemonade stand is because we want to build leverage. When you record media and content, people can watch it over and over and over again, and it doesn't cost any of your time. So instead of hopping on a call or on chats and explaining people what you do, you can just send them a core video that explains exactly your process. And then the one chat or just converting people into clients. Okay, we're going to dial into all of this stuff. Ads and all that stuff, I'm going to give you a live walkthrough later, so stay tuned for that as well. But I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a big, broad arch to give you guys context of why these ads should work in the first place. It's when you have foundations in place. So the one niche, in my opinion, by the way, a niche obviously is just a subsect of a market. It's, in my opinion, comes from three main core things. Your niche is you, right? Your story, your personality, what you've been through, the mechanism. So how do you get people to their end goal? If you want to help people build a better business and make more money, like what is the steps they need to take? What is the unique thing that is unique to your brand that people need to adopt? And then the third part, what is the outcome? Like some people don't really think about this deeply. If you're a business coach or you help people get fit, you could just tell people, oh, I'm going to help you get fit, lose a bit of weight. But if you be very specific, like I'm going to show you how to lose weight, have a holistic life, and be a better father, all of a sudden it's like, damn, I resonate with this person because that's exactly what I want. So that's why building your one niche by being very clear on who you are, your story, your values, teaching your mechanism, and providing the outcome, this is going to make your brand very attractive in the market. Okay, so this is important. So, like I said, you is your story, your values, your hobbies, your passions, your personality. That's what, determines you. An example of me, right? So here I worked actually in a COVID center. I did my fashion brand, I worked on my business, and 2025 and beyond, I've obviously working with my business partner. I went to Sicily. I really like traveling with him as well. Different things that I like, right? I like purpose, peace, passion, profit. That's kind of like the ethos I have with my brand. What else do I like to do? I like to read, I like to lift weights, like to play video games. right? The biggest people that you follow, they're not perfect. They've got, things that they don't enjoy or things that aren't necessarily always the best, right? And then, a bit of my personal like mind and what I love, right? So when you include that into your brand, and by the way, this doesn't have to be overly done, and it depends on your niche. If you're a fitness coach and you're selling more lifestyle, you can maybe include more of this. If you're someone that is more, outcome focused, business people aren't so worried about who you are. They're more focused on the outcome, but you can still include a little bit of this. Hopefully you guys know Alex Hormozi, but he talks a lot about gym, a lot about fitness, which is completely unrelated to what he's doing, but he does it because it builds trust and it makes him unique. Or like Elon Musk, he plays video games, right? And he shares that openly because it makes him more relatable. Okay. So here's a little bit of an exercise. Think about your story, your values, your personality, the hobbies and things that you like to do, and incorporate that in your brand. If you're writing a LinkedIn post, if you're, sharing something on Instagram, if you're sharing something on TikTok, obviously talk to your audience, talk to the core person you want to help, but also explain stories, explain why you want to do this, explain your values, because that's going to really build a connection. Another example of this is why do you guys think Adidas, Nike, all of these big brands, why do you think they always sponsor athletes and, Hollywood actors? It's because they're relatable. They're human. No one resonates with the Nike check mark, but they resonate with the football player. They resonate with the actor. So that's why personal branding is your biggest asset as a business owner, okay? Because it builds that relatability. Obviously, you talk about your mechanism. So your frameworks, your templates, ideologies, systems, processes, right? Here's a few examples, right? You've got like Ikigai, the hero's journey, the precipitation cycle, right? These are all systems and processes. And the reason why it's good to have one is because they're very memorable. So when you include that into your brand with the main core thing that you're selling, it makes it easy for people to understand and it's memorable. So feel free to just think about what is my framework? What is my thing that I'm trying to build? And make it simple. A three-step process, right? Jay's got a three-step process. Things that people can understand. And then your outcome, promise, goal, desire, vision, feeling, things that people are like, oh, I want to be a part of that, or I want to get to that outcome. So craft your dream outcome. What does their daily routine look like? How do they feel? What are their daily thoughts? How has their life changed? Right? Because when you make that very clear, then people know exactly why they're following you and exactly why they should continue following and looking at your content because they want to get a certain outcome. So the key lesson is the outcome promise doesn't have to have any guarantees or be extremely unique. It can be pretty simple, but you want to make it clear. That's the main thing. You want to make it super clear so people know what they're getting when subscribing to your brand. And yeah, like you don't have to have crazy, unique, super like different ideas, but they needs to be clear and it needs to be simple so people know what they're following. Do you guys have any questions? Just quickly pop them in the chat. Very briefly, if you have any questions about building that niche or making it different or including mechanisms.
I've
Should we
got
do questions at the end or
yeah, no, this is fine. Whatever you would prefer, Jay. I mean, I've got a
yeah.
quick question. So,
Yeah.
say for example, if you're somebody that wants to do faceless content, yeah, somebody that wants to just, you don't necessarily want to build a personal brand,
Yeah.
however, you're doing affiliate marketing or something like that. Does the same things apply?
The
Short form
same things
content, long
apply.
form content, yeah.
You need to connect the content with the affiliate marketing thing that you're selling. So think about the product that you're selling. What is the identity people want to subscribe to? What is the pain that they're suffering? And make content around that. Sometimes it's also good to use your own personal experience if that matches it. Sometimes it doesn't always do it. But if you talk about those things that, the person wants to buy, right? The affiliate deal, talk about the pains, the stories, the things that will get people hooked on that as well. So it still applies. And I think you can still do it for affiliate marketing as well.
Yeah, cool. And likewise with like maybe other sort of models, like say for example, Dawn, she's got a business where she's helping people streamline their processes by just improving their Excel spreadsheets and just basically helping them save time just by streamlining everything. So, say for example, for Dawn, or anyone that's got like a brand like that, Dawn's not necessarily going to put her face on any of that. It's all going to just be her particular brand. But
Where is she promoting her stuff? Like on a faceless, like LinkedIn or
we're getting there. We're still building.
okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna get there. We're gonna get to
Yeah.
traffic is like the next part of what it is that we're gonna be focusing on.
Yeah.
But you would say the same sort of thing in terms of, from a brand perspective, you're just a brand, long form content, short form content, trying to build like the brand message. Like so it's like the brand speaking instead of it being a personal brand, the brand it's speaking itself. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always think including a bit of your personal story is good. Like, how did you learn Excel? Like, why do you care about it so much? Why do you think it's such a big problem? Right? A lot of people think, oh, I need a new ad strategy, I need a new content strategy. It's like, no, you just have to track your numbers. And that's why Excel is so important. And the reason why it's so important is because I was seeing this one business owner and he was trying all these things and he had it all messy. And because of that, he wasn't making rational decisions. And that's why Excel is so important. And using my Excel sheet blueprint system, I will show you how to make things more organized and more streamlined for your business. So that's kind of how I would frame it is obviously you don't have to say like, oh, I've got 3 kids and I like to, drink coffee on the weekends. Like you don't have to do that, but obviously including certain stories, certain things about you can build a bit more depth with the brand. So people are like, oh, Dawn is great because she figured out this problem because of X, Y, and Z. They've got like a story behind it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. That makes sense. So you would always say then to have an element of putting your personality into the brand, regardless whatever it is you're doing. So if I'm selling screen wiper, yeah,
Yeah.
via e-commerce or something like that, would you always recommend saying, look, that making it present that Jay Hastings is behind the screen clean, and the reasons why is because I could never get my computer looking clean. All the other products were terrible, and now I've created this. So would you always say that
100%.
a personality in
100%.
your
Like there
brand?
was a person who made these interesting um interesting hangers, right, on Instagram. And they had like a different shape and they looked different. So it was also kind of like an e-commerce product. But he showed the process and how he thought about it, how he was like, okay, I need to promote this, the branding behind it, the story behind it, because people want to follow like a movement. So you can still, even though you're doing e-commerce, you still should build a brand, 100%. I think building a brand is the most important thing because people trust people. People don't trust a product or a brand. And you'll see on in Instagram, on stuff like that, there's very interesting ways people promote things, especially with e-commerce. You could take a like have you guys seen this guy who's selling he's selling LEDs, like these LED signs. Maybe it's popped on your feed, but it's this guy from Asia. He's always got a clip and he's selling these LED signs. And he was able to grow his brand massively by making kind of these funny jokes around, memes and viral culture and then, mixing it together. But point is, he built a brand around himself and now he's world renowned. He's pretty well known. If you see a video, you probably know what I mean. But everyone is using their faces, their brands to build companies, and it's extremely important. Um, so yeah, I think to some degree, every company, every brand, every can always build a personal brand. So that's important. Is questions coming through?
Yeah, Joy's just put a question in the chat, but just another quick one for me. So what about if somebody wants to remain completely anonymous? Like sometimes I do get this, Jay,
That's
I
fine.
want to remain completely anonymous. I want to do completely faceless content. I don't want anyone to know it's anything to do with me whatsoever. How would you suggest that person sort of build that brand then if they don't want to be, you know, in and around the content at all.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna say things first and foremost. You guys are probably aware that AI is taking over, right? AI is taking over massively. And people thrive connection. They thrive uniqueness. They don't want everything copy paste. So even if you're doing a faceless brand, I would still, because I mean, you're faceless, right? They don't know who you are. If you have a random name and you explain your story or your personality, people aren't going to know who you are anyway. So I would still include something, a story, your path, your failures, your goals into that, even though it's faceless, people don't know who you are because again, it builds that connection. Otherwise, people could be following an AI bot, right? Of course, you want to give knowledge, you want to give your unique expertise, and you can still build a brand like that. I mean, Twitter X is a huge platform that's only based on text, and a lot of people are selling digital products. A lot of people are showing their expertise on there and and building brands that way. So I think it's important to have some sort of unique element that's different because ultimately you're trying to separate yourself from the crowd. So you're gonna have to look for that unique edge in some way or another. So like personal branding is a strategic edge. That's the key thing here. It's not a must. I mean, it's not like a, I don't know, magical thing. It's a strategic edge. It's an edge that you're gonna have to build your own lane and ultimately attract your unique audience to you. Um, Joy put a question in here. Is it better to target a niche or a specific person? In my opinion, a specific person. Um, this doesn't apply, this mostly applies to coaching businesses and when you're helping people on a coaching basis or on a service-based business. I think it's always good to target your previous self, right? So, Jay might target himself 10 years ago and what he struggled through, and now he's teaching you guys. And that's a specific person. That's not a niche. So I always like to write down a specific person of what you're helping. So how old are they? What do they do on a daily basis? What is their struggles? What is their goals? And then just write that out and give that person a name. So I always like to think about a specific person you're making content for, and mostly it's your previous self. Not always, but sometimes.
Yeah,
Um,
I definitely 100% agree with that, Jay. Because if you think about it, everyone here, in terms of the Serious About Success brand, what was the message that might have attracted you to do some work with me? A lot of time it's, leave your day job. I'm saying, look, okay, look, I'm going to help you leave your day job. Now, when the reason why I've gone with that niche, with the reason why I've gone with that sort of specific person is because that's me. When I had the day job, all I could ever think about, when we all know, I mean, I've told you 100 times, I had that mantra, I gotta get out the day job. Who leave the day job? Me, gotta get out the day job. And that was it. That was my mantra because I wanted to leave the day job so bad. So that then meant that when I've now gone on to create Serious About Success, I'm just targeting me. Tris, you're me, right? Marie, we're the same. Joy, when I first met you, itching, desperate to leave the day job. Yeah. So lots of you are exactly me. So all I'm doing when I'm doing stuff like, lots of you have come through ads and stuff like that. All I'm ever doing is just trying to target me on the ads or in some of the content. What would I have really benefited from, listening to back in the day when I was still up and coming? So, I love what Jay's saying here. Who is your specific targeted person and really going for them.
yeah. And Joy was confused a little bit with the wording. Like the reason why it's called one niche is because there's only one of you, right? There's only one of you. So you're the niche in this scenario. So hopefully that made a bit clearly with the thing here. Exactly, the dream client. Cool. I think we can go on, right? So next off, it's the one offer. So this, like I said, this is I'm gonna give some specific advice for like coaches, service-based businesses, and I'll also broaden out for like a lot of different things because there's a lot of different business models here. But essentially, you're giving people an offer. And there's different tiers and different levels of offers. This is specific for coaching because I help coaching businesses. But I'll also explain it how it will work for, let's say, e-commerce and that type of thing. Obviously, you've got the free resources, which is like the biggest ring. What is free resources? That's content, that's YouTube, that's giving value for people to get a bit of access to your world and how you can help. From there, you've got your workshops, your low ticket things, people to get introduced to. Now, this isn't always the case. Some people, especially when you're starting from scratch, I would recommend just having, let's say, a coaching because you need to have a validated offer. But these are the different things that you can do in order to kind of break up the way that you offer things. You might have a community access, you might have one-on-one coaching, you might have a low ticket product, but ultimately, everything that you're doing still serves the core transformation that you want people to go towards. For example, Joy. I'll just give Joy because she just popped in my mind. Joy's helping with marketing. She might have some free resources, some content, some YouTube, whatever. She might have some low ticket. Maybe she leaves that out. She might have her, maybe she's got a consulting part of what she does, and maybe she's got a done for you agency stuff, right? So she's still helping business owners, but it's just in different tiers depending on what people need. Now, of course, this comes with nuance, right? When you're starting off, just start with the one coaching offer, validate that, and then you can build from there. But I just wanted to give you guys a bit of an idea of how you can break things up and I guess ascend people through the value ladder. Right? Some people might have another tier of doing a one-on events in person, right? That's another like access of getting closer to you. You notice here, right? The closer people get towards you, the more access they have towards you, the more you can charge. So it's like you're building a brand, and even if you're e-commerce, right? Maybe you have, your low ticket t-shirts, then maybe you've got an in-person event, and then maybe you've got like some cool mastermind or whatever, right? Like that's how people are building these companies. If you look at companies like Adidas, they have like their shoes, then they've got their Adidas running clubs and all of stuff like that. And they ascend people and nurture people through these different offers. But still keeping people on that same trajectory, on that same core outcome. I'd love to answer some questions. Probably just note this if you've got any questions later about this, about your offer. But it's basically like what your core thing that you're trying to help people do. So that's cool. So you can have free resources, right? There's platforms like School, there's platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. This is the social media platforms. This is where you're giving people access to free stuff for them to consume and learn from. Even if you're running an e-commerce company, you're still giving people free resources. You still keep giving people an identity to latch onto. You're still giving people something that they should follow, a movement, entertainment. So that's kind of like the first layer. The second layer is maybe you have workshops, low ticket, your Shopify school, your stand store, something where you can offer something low ticket. Like I said, I think this depends on what level you are in your business. If you're already serving clients, they're already doing well, and you're like, I want to offer something low ticket. There's probably a lot of people in my audience that can't afford to work with me one-on-one, but I can offer them this low ticket thing that can help them. So that's kind of how I think about it. Maybe have community access, right? You can even include WhatsApp here if you're helping people on the coaching program and they're a mom or a dad that wants to lose weight, get them in WhatsApp. That's where you can coach them and have your one-on-one calls and give them everything they need to succeed, right? One-on-one coaching, you can have them in WhatsApp and stuff like that. Didn't want to confuse you guys too much with like the niche because this is obviously coaching related, but this does work for e-commerce, affiliate marketing, all of that stuff. It's taking people through that value ladder and nurturing them and giving them that access. So the main thing is we're not building multiple products. That's a big mistake. You're not building one product for this niche and one product for that person. They're still reaching the core outcome that you teach, but it's through multiple levels of access, depending where they're at. Some people are not nurtured, they're not warm enough to work with you. So they're going to watch your free stuff, your YouTube, your content, your that type of thing. Some people might be on your email list and be like, oh, cool, there's this workshop going on. I'm going to subscribe to that. Or there's a few spots open for the coaching program. I'm going to book a call and see what that's about. So it's different levels of access depending where they're at their journey. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. So my example is like with my business personally, to give you guys a bit of thing to latch onto. I've got my YouTube, I've got my school group. I actually don't do this as often anymore, but I have a monthly workshop where I give access to a workshop that I normally do with my clients. They can buy a ticket for 50, $100, join, they can get a taste of how it is to work with me. And then I've got my one-on-one coaching, which is hosted on Slack and resources on school as well. So I've got a few different places where people can get value from me and monetize my brand. And everything revolves around the I help statement. So even if you're running a clothing brand affiliate marketing, like you're helping a certain identity, and being very clear on that is important. Do you guys have any questions about that? If not, I will just keep going. Otherwise, pop it in the chat.
Okay, I'll quickly jump in here if you don't mind, Jay, as well. So as Jay's going through this, it's really important to think about, obviously your own brand, your own product in terms of, we're talking about um, funnels almost. You mentioned it like the circles,
Yeah.
typically would call it a funnel. So in terms of what are people getting for free? What's going to be your free resources? Yeah. I think, look, Tris, your business is probably the only one that's a little bit different, and I'll ask Jay about your business in a moment. That's a little bit different to everybody else's in the sense of what we're doing with yourself. But think about it, like Marie, for example, everybody else, Andy, Gina, Joe, at the top end, what are people getting? So the reason why I'm spending a lot of time creating so much video content is because that's the top end. That's the top end. Like the webinars, that's the top end. Free, driving traffic to the website, getting some content. That's all just top end. YouTube videos, podcasts, top end. To then funnel it through to a lower ticket offer. Obviously you all know how much it costs to do my training. If I went straight from that to, straight to my premium product, for example, the conversion rates are going to be a lot lower because I'm not doing enough to warm people up. So to sell a lower ticket offer, which might be £47, which everybody has gone through that exact same process, pretty much everyone here. Um, apart from maybe Carol, but everybody else, maybe you, Andy, but you do the £47, which is the online training. And then off the back of that, it then upsells to, getting a lot more work with me. As you know, you've all gone through the exact same funnel, exactly the same, so I want you to think about that, in your business, because it's really, really, really important, in terms of what are they coming in under, what's the free content, what's the initial upsell, what's any upsells from there, following on from this, we have our retreats, Andy, Carol, Joy, you all know about our business retreats. So that's another part of the funnel, of what it is that we're doing. So think about that. Just think about how your business is going to apply to what free content you're going to give away, what initial product are you going to sell, for people to get a bit of a taste of what it is that you do. Even if you're just doing e-commerce, when you buy something on e-commerce, typically, you might get driven somewhere, you then might buy a product, and then it's upselling you straight away. It's upselling you to, do you want a pack of 3? Do you want a pack of this? Or do you want to do this? Or do you want to do that? So it's the same sort of thing, getting you in, you make a purchase, and then they're now trying to encourage you to make more purchases. So, yeah, so I hope that helps. Cool.
Yeah.
Go for it, Jay.
Exactly. Like with e-commerce, they do a lot of email marketing. Oh, there's something left at the checkout. Oh, get this thing. There's always things that push you over the edge and stuff like that. But essentially it's the same concept for many different types of businesses. Now, I wanted to give you guys, I'm pretty sure that's the next slide. Okay, this is one more part. So next up is the one VSL. Now, this is basically, I'm sure a lot of you guys know what a video sales letter is, but essentially it's a core piece of video that people watch and can learn about more how you can help. And typically these are put on landing pages and stuff like that. But I'll walk you through a little bit of how I like to do it. And this what this does is it makes the buying journey easier. Because when people trust you, when they see your results, when they see your story, when they see your unique mechanism, all of those things on a video, they're going to understand, oh, this is the right for me, or this isn't the right thing for me. And it's a good way for people to understand and work with you. That's why we have a 1VSL. An example is I actually host mine on YouTube, by the way, and I'll show you exactly why in a second. But this is mine, right? I show people personal branding, a little bit of stuff of what we spoke about today on my YouTube channel, and I drive that traffic from my social media, TikTok, Instagram, all of that stuff, to my YouTube channel. The reason why YouTube, I think I've got in the next slide, I'll show you the framework. The reason why YouTube um, currently is because buyers are very sophisticated nowadays. Obviously, there's exceptions, but I really like YouTube because people can binge your content. If people watch this core VSL video, they will watch another video. And next thing you know, they're on YouTube again. They get your other videos recommended. It's a good place for people to spend time with you. And that's what we want. We want people to build trust with you. You want people to spend time with you. And I don't know about you guys, but what is the difference between sending people to a YouTube video with the 1VSL or sending people to, let's say, a landing page with an opt-in? What's the core difference? The core difference is YouTube is a familiar place. You guys probably watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube. It doesn't raise any red flags. It's very easy. It's very low friction. And it's a good place for you guys to send a lot of your traffic to. And obviously, I'm going to go over a structure of a good VSL and obviously the ads and all that stuff. We primarily want to run ads to send people to this YouTube video. Like I said, this is mainly for service and coaching businesses where you're selling something high ticket. Um, but regardless, there's a lot of other brands. Like I don't know if you guys, maybe you guys can search this up right now real quick. If you search Red Bull on YouTube, they're one of the biggest YouTube channels, Red Bull, and they're making regular content like any other content creator influencer, and they're a beverage company. So huge companies, huge corporations are making YouTube videos now because that's where people are spending their time. It's not on TV, it's not on billboards, it's on YouTube. So YouTube is kind of like the free market of advertising now. So YouTube is a very good place to build that trust. The framework for this VSL is pretty simple, right? A big promise. Hey, I'm going to streamline all of your tracking with these Excel systems. This is not for business owners that aren't making X amount of money or blah, 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 whatever. You can disqualify them, who it's for, who it's not for, why they should care, your story, or how you learn this skill, maybe a bit of authority, your unique system, how your program works, and a call to action. Like, hey, by the way, if you want to work with me and just let me do all of this for you, just book a call below and we can have a chat. It's quite simple, but this key video is a very good asset to have. If you're DMing people if you're having conversations on LinkedIn, on Twitter, wherever, like you can just be like, hey, I made a video. It actually shows my process. Here it is. And you send it over. And it's a very good asset. Why YouTube? Like I said, organic views, binge other content. It's a known platform. And you can easily switch your 1VSL, right? If you make a new VSL, you can just change it up. And it's good to deal with objections. So this next one, I don't want to keep this too long, so I might wrap this up fairly quickly. And then we can go into a live walkthrough for the ads, and you guys can ask me questions. But the last thing is like, how do we have conversations? Now, there's a very simple framework that I think Alex Samozi came up with, and it's acknowledge, compliment, ask. When you're having conversations in the DMs, when you're having those sales conversations to get people interested in how you can help. So I always like to keep things fairly simple. I'll probably give you guys the copy of this presentation after this, so you guys can look at this again if you like. But I like to have a very casual conversation, and it depends on the platform. For example, on LinkedIn, you might want to be more formal. On Instagram, you can be a bit more playful, depending on the platform. And obviously, you want to get into a gap, what they need help with. And I always like to send them YouTube videos in the process. Hey, I actually made a video on YouTube going over this thing that you just mentioned. Or I made a newsletter about this, depending what long form platform you want to use. And I provide value straight up so people trust me and get into the ecosystem. suggest, invite, confirm. I don't want to get into this too in depth, but this is how you can book calls and get people interested in working with you. Like I said, this doesn't obviously apply so much to e-commerce because it's more of a low ticket product. But the same is obviously done, I guess, through email marketing and stuff where people give value and suggest to visit the website. Um, Follow-ups, super crucial, right? If you follow up with people, do it every 4 to 6 weeks and hunt for the no. Don't always, just let people, think about it or whatever. Hunt for the no. If they tell you no, I'm not ready, fine, great, move on to the next person. Um, yeah, so which people should you contact? A lot of people on this call probably have people bought something from them before. Those are the perfect people to hunt for the next clients, people that showed intent. This is specific to Instagram, but people that engaged with you, new followers, etc. So this is pretty simple. There's no perfect script. But if you learn the concepts and principles like ACA, what was it? Ask, compliment, acknowledge, compliment, ask, sorry, then you'll understand how to have these conversations very easy. Okay? Does does everything make sense? Am I overwhelming you guys, or is everything cool? Awesome. Good stuff. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit, okay, technical question. I love technical questions. How do you prevent prospect leaving your channel content to explore the rest of YouTube if using that as your video platform? Yeah, good question. So this is going to happen regardless on whether it's YouTube, Twitter, you know, their phone buzzing next to them, their grandma knocking on the door. There's always going to be distractions with everything. So the main key thing is you want to really make sure that you're targeting. If people have a painful problem and you're calling that out in your content, you're giving solutions, people are going to want to learn how to deal with that. If their business is failing because of lack of organization and your Excel sheets or your business strategy or your fitness program can, get them looking like they were in high school, they're going to pay attention. And that's why when it comes to YouTube, like if I send you like a 20-minute video about something random, that's going to be a pretty big ask, right? If I tell you like, okay, dude, like here's a video, it's 30 minutes long. It's like I don't want to watch this. So that's why the short form platforms gets the initial interest. It gets the initial 30-second interest, the LinkedIn post, that stuff. It gets the initial interest. So by the time they're on your YouTube, they already kind of know you. They already seen a bit of content. They know what to expect. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of, you know, of an answer to that. There's of course a little bit more technical like answers to that. If you get their email, you can keep on nurturing them there. What I like to do when I get emails is just, hey, I posted a new YouTube video, and just send them the email with the YouTube video. There's also a bit more higher level strategy that we'll get in today about retargeting. If someone is, this is specific for Instagram, by the way. I'm a big fan of Instagram because it's got a very, very good ad platform. Obviously, you guys know Meta. I think other platforms also have something similar, but Instagram Meta is one of the best. They've got, a way, if you guys, let's say, visit my Instagram profile, sooner or later, you're going to get another piece of content pushed your way. You're going to see me again. And that's because I use retargeting. So anyone that visits my Instagram profile over the past 365 days will get pushed certain content and we'll get into this. Am I jumping ahead, Jay, or whenever someone visits my Instagram over the past year, they'll get pushed specific bits of content that we can start a conversation, that they can get a YouTube video, so on and so forth. And I'll show you guys how to do that in this training. This is assuming landing page embedded video versus sending them to YouTube via link. Landing page embedded video. So yeah, the landing page is a funny thing. You can do landing pages, right? It's totally fine. If there's a big enough problem, they will just watch the landing page title, they can book a call. The reason I like YouTube is guess what, guys? People are getting pretty smart nowadays, right? The landing pages, they are they're used to it, right? People are being sold before on the internet. So that's why YouTube is a bit less low, it's a bit lower friction. You know, they're like, if you send people a YouTube video on LinkedIn or whatever, they're like, oh, cool, this guy thought of me. There's a YouTube video, he made it, it's about my problem. Sometimes when you send a landing page, it's like, okay, like now it wants my email. You know, you're asking. So sometimes it's good to just give, you know, by sending a YouTube video. Cool. Any other questions? I think that should be good. Um, okay, I think that's good. So next steps is I want to give you guys a bit of a bonus. Now, this is a little bit of a specific thing that you can do. And it's a little bit with automation. I don't know if I should do the ads first, but I can walk you through just in a second how everything works. We can go over the ads and all that good stuff. So I've got a system where you can run ads. This also works for other platforms, by the way, not just Instagram. You can run ads or make organic content. And you've probably seen a lot of the times like, oh, if you want my free training, comment a certain keyword. You guys have probably seen that. Basically, you can create Instagram content, TikTok content, whatever on many platforms, and you can use a software called ManyChat, and you can collect emails. After, for example, they comment a keyword, you send them the resource, they have to put in their email, and then they get sent. Guess what? They get sent your one VSL as the resource. So you basically tell them about how you can help. And the way that how this looks, and we'll go into this in detail, is let's say I post a video on my Instagram with a call to action. People comment the certain thing, and I send them with that automation a link. Hey, thanks for your interest in the masterclass. Then they get put to a landing page, they put in their email, and they get sent where? To my YouTube. So basically, I'm getting qualified followers, I'm getting open conversations, I'm getting email subscribers, and people on my YouTube. And that's how I'm able to grow. And I'm going to show you guys how to do this. I'll also just give you, you know, simpler ways to do this as well. But just wanted to show you guys, and I'm going to walk you through that. So now you guys have your one niche, one offer, your VSL, how to have chats, and also the system at the end that can help you grow your page. So let's get into a little bit of a live walkthrough in a second. Do you guys have any questions before I move on? Okay, because now it's free flow. Now it's question time, but I'll just get into it. Okay, 1 second. Okay, cool. So this is my Instagram specifically, and we're talking about ads right now. And ads is, why do we do ads? Ads is something that works very well for specific things. For example, if you're targeting a very specific person, right? I know someone does menopause coaching. It's very good for that type of thing. That's why it's important to have a very core avatar that you serve, your previous self, because you can create content and test content. And if something performs well, you can take that same format and run it as an ad. So I'll give you an example. So let's say you make an ad, you're saying, you know, menopause is ruining your life. You're struggling. You've got X, Y, and Z pain problem. And that's exactly how I felt when I was going through menopause. And since then, not only do I feel better than I've ever done before, but I've also helped this woman and this woman get amazing results in less than X amount of weeks. If you want to learn how this works, follow me and comment menopause, and I'll send over a training. We can get over ad scripts and exactly how to run those. But initially, you want to call out the person that you can help, what their struggles are, what their goals are, people that maybe you've helped or a bit of an authority statement, and that they should follow you here on Instagram and comment a keyword. You can also just do follow me and go through my content. Why do we want to get followers? Why do we just want to get people following us on social media rather than asking for a email, asking them to buy something from us? There's different strategies, but for majority of you guys, this is the best thing possible. The reason why is because we want to build a relationship with people. We want people to take a low friction step for people to be in your ecosystem. That's the key thing. You don't want people to just, check something out and leave you forever. You want to build trust. That's why Jay's making YouTube videos. That's why he's doing podcasts. He's trying to build a relationship, build trust with everything he's doing. So, does that make sense, everyone? We want to get people to follow us because you can nurture them. Exactly. Maybe Joy even knows this. I don't know. She knows her shit. But let's see. Cool. So the way that I run ads, there's obviously ads that you can run through the backend of Meta, but there's actually a very simple way that you can do it as well. And that's just boosting things here on Instagram. Some of you guys might be like, oh my God, that's way too simple. It can't be that simple. Things can be simple, guys. Okay? You shouldn't overcomplicate things. I'll show you how to run it on the backend of Meta and different ways to do that in a second. But if you're running a business where you're just trying to get high ticket clients, have an ad script, post it very simply like I do, and then boost it. Okay? Because this has copyrighted music, I don't think I can. Let me just see if I can do this one. You need to have no copyrighted music, people. Okay? So what do? We click visit your profile. We just want people to visit our profile. We want to have a call to action at the end for people to follow you. And we want to obviously click this. I wouldn't click either one of these. Running them on the backend of Meta is better. The reason why we do this boosted, by the way, is because I've just seen better results. It's simpler and it's easier for you guys to test and do it this way. So suggested audience, unless you've got a follower base that only has the perfect client in your follower base, I would not click this. Some of you guys have, old high school friends on your Instagram, so I wouldn't click suggested audience. I would create your own audience. So what does that mean? Let's just go with the menopause example because I like that one. So you can, let's say that's your offer. You're helping women, overcome their menopause or just have a better experience with it. You want to change your age, make that fit with the audience that you're trying to help. Locations, right? A lot of you guys have the problem, you're just attracting the wrong people, right? You're attracting people maybe from third world countries or just not the right person with your content. Here you can be very specific. So you're going to edit your locations. Maybe you do UK, US, Canada, Australia, whatever, those kind of English speaking countries. Maybe you do content in a different language. You target those countries. You give it a simple name. Doesn't really matter too much. You might be wondering, what is Advantage Plus Audience? This is basically Meta's way of saying, this is a suggestion, what you're giving us, but sometimes we will break those rules if we find a better option. So maybe we're like, actually, this ad works better for, maybe people younger or older. So for the most part, I would just leave this on. Not always, like in some cases you wouldn't in the back end of Meta, but in this case, I would just leave this on. And let's go on audience options. So interests, you can do interests. Maybe you do like, I don't know if there's a motherhood interest, but depending on who your audience is, business, fitness, finance, whatever. Sometimes you can even leave this blank. If you want to do an initial test and do broad, you can do this blank. Minimum age is 18. You can do obviously a different age bracket, gender. If you're doing the menopause offer, you just do female, sorry. And then you can click save. I'm not going to do it for now, but let's just say this is the audience we just created. Then we're going to go down and just boost it. Very simple. Now, how much do you need to spend on running ads? Let's say you've got all the foundations in place. You've got a good Instagram profile. You're posting content. And now you just want to get more people on your page predictably. I would do $10 a day, test it for 3 days. If you're getting followers, if you're getting people interacting, then it's working and then you run it. I'm not going to go into super specific things of how much it should be costing per follower. It depends on the niche, but $1 to $3 a follower, even up to $5, $6, $7, $8 a follower, depending on the niche. If you're targeting, let's say, mothers with menopause, it can be like $3. If you're targeting, let's say, top level execs or CEOs, it's going to be costing a lot more because that audience is smaller. So that's why I would, keep in mind the different, the different costs. Then you would run this ad until I pause it, right? You're just going to run it like this and you're going to boost it. Okay. So that's very, very simple. This is the easiest ad you guys should be running. If you want to reinvest in the business, if you want to speed things up, this is the best way possible. Because I'll show you exactly what happens, right? You get messages, you get people following you, you get people interested in the content that you do, and so on and so forth. Is there any questions before I get into that about like why this is a simple, easy way thing that you can do to get more people on your profile, more people following you? Okay, let's get into things. I'll give you an example of ads that I've made and see how you can do the same. So this is an ad, and there's people commenting a certain keyword, right? Let's say belief, right? In this case, I was talking about, as I don't even know what I was talking about, micro education businesses, what content to create, how to attract your dream clients. And I said, if you want a training on how to get this, just comment the word belief and I'll send it over. And then you get people commenting this keyword. They automatically get sent, nice, hit me with a follow and check your DMs to access the training. So in this case, this guy's a coach, which I can help. He's a men's fat loss coach. And this guy, he's showed intent, and I can send a message to this guy and I can have a conversation with him. Um, I was gonna be like, should I expose the conversation? But why not? I'm not here to hide anything. So let's go back. So this guy got the first thing, right? The first automation. The first thing that he got is get Masterclass, which goes to the landing page where he can put his email. After he puts in his email, he gets redirected to YouTube, where he hopefully gets nurtured, watches my stuff, gets introduced to how I can help. Okay, let's go back. Okay. Oh, no, I don't want to call this guy. What's going on? Okay, I need to go back. I didn't want to do that. Okay, so I sent him a message on my appointment setter did, and you might notice, okay, there's another thing here. What's happening here? He commented on another video. So he's constantly watching my stuff, interested in what I do. Sent him a voice message. He sent me two back. So this is also a thing, guys. Like people aren't always going to answer you right away. Lots of people lurk around the internet, peeking at your stuff, and only after a while they're like, okay, I'm going to answer this person. So he answered me, gives some voice message. Awesome, dude. I sent him a YouTube video because I want to provide more value. I want to give that person some value. All the best to you. Seen. I could probably send him another message now, like, hey, how are you going? How's your coaching business going? In your guys' sense, if you're doing a service-based business, a coaching business, obviously this will be tailored towards your brand, right? Maybe you've got a video on how to overcome menopause on your YouTube, that type of thing. Okay, so do you see how this system can work? And by the way, you don't only have to do this if you get this automation. If people follow you, you should message them anyway. Hey, James, I just saw that you gave me a follow. Is there any particular reason that you decided to follow me? I would love to get some insight. Other than that, is there any resources that I can send over depending on your situation? I would love to do so. Have a great day. Sending messages to people for new followers, that's also a good thing that you guys can do. Okay, cool. Let's get into the ads thing on Ads Manager. So I'll show you the different options. But I just wanted to show you guys this because this is a very simple way that you can get people on your brand, on your ecosystem, and so on and so forth, that you can nurture people from there. Is that cool? Any other questions? You guys seem quiet. You blown away by the things you can do?
This is great content, Jay. So thanks very much for this. But yes, everyone, if you've got questions, 'cause remember, I want you to really have some good ideas in terms of when you walk away from here now with your brand. Like, we're talking about menopause there, Marie. So, to be really clear when we walk away now, how are we going to implement a lot of this stuff of what Jay's teaching us today? Um,
Um,
what about things like, content? So say you've got an example of menopause, since we're talking about menopause so much.
the reason I mention it is because it's an untapped,
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of people that talk about, like, I'll give you an example. There was one woman that followed me, and she was helping people with chronic insomnia in French. So very niche. She had like 800 followers making like 2, 3 grand a month
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
no effort.
Just with 800 followers. Yeah.
She wasn't even running ads. She was
Yeah.
just making some content. People reached out to her. Oh, can you help me with my Chronomic? Oh, yeah, like we can do $70 an hour. She just charged hourly. She wasn't even knowing what she was doing and not doing a package because she had a niche that was unique. So that's why with the menopause thing, I mentioned it a lot because it's unique and you can succeed with that because not all, there's fitness coaches, there's tons of business, dating, those are kind of the big things. But with those niches that are really painful, but there's not a lot of people doing it, that's where you can win.
Yeah, look, Marie knows that I love your niche. We've been talking about that from the get-go, right, Marie? I love the niche, yeah. Fall in love with the niche. And there's a reason why. Exactly what Jay just said. Exactly the reason why. But I just want to make sure everyone's really clear in terms of okay, how is this going to apply to you? Because marketing is marketing. This is it. Yeah, we can, we teach a bit about webinars as well, which is great. And then with lots of us, I'm encouraging you to create content, start, really growing your audience, really growing your space. And I know it can take a little bit of time to really get things moving. So, if you've got questions like even in terms of the content, what should the content look like? So Jay's given some examples about, potentially what to include in the content. Does it make sense? Like, does that resonate with you now in terms of, okay, if we're doing menopause stuff, you know, to put out an ad or to do a video where we're saying, I felt I had the hot flushes, I felt like this, I had brain fog, I had this, I had that. It turns out, everyone, that I was going through the menopause. I then got over, I was able to do this and do that and do this. Look, if you want to learn more about how to do that, give me a follow. Who's not going to follow? If you're going through, because it's really specific, really niched, like really specific, who's not going to follow if you're having those problems right there and then? Do you get what I mean? So it's a really, really, really good way of generating followers when you're really that specific.
Followers are leads in this case, and a lot of people, and don't get me wrong, emails are great, but what do you think is more valuable? Like, if you can directly message someone that just followed you and have a conversation just like that, or emailing back and forth, like, what do you think is more valuable? The more contact you can have with the person, the better. And that's why, like, getting a follow is so great. You can send them a voice message, a video. Hey, how are you doing? I just saw you followed. So that's really good. It's just leads. Like, followers are just leads. If you're doing this targeted ad, followers are leads. There's a few questions that I wanted to answer. What are the suggestions on the first 3 second hook on ads videos? Ads is different than videos, and I'll get into that. To be honest, on ads, just call out the thing that they recognize the most, the thing that the pain. So, for example, with menopause, I would just say menopause. That's the first thing I would say. Menopause is tough. Menopause is ruining your life. Because if someone's like struggling with it, if you say, like, I am someone that have been struggling with, they might not even get to the word menopause and scroll past. So just say the first thing that people are struggling with. If it's losing 20 pounds, just say that. Losing 20 pounds is blah, 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 ruling your life. Or with my client who's helping people with balding, like balding is killing your confidence. So I always just say the first word should be the thing that people are like, yeah, that's taking my attention. For videos in general, it depends because ads is something where we're targeting it, like we're putting out this very specific thing, and boosting it, right, or getting more attention on it. With videos, this is also the good thing about ads, by the way. This is something completely separate. When you're getting traffic predictably with ads, you can be a little bit more relaxed with your content because you are getting like your traffic, that problem solved forever. If you've got an ad that's running $10 a day, that you're getting followers every single day, people are viewing your stuff, then it's like it's crazy, right? If people are viewing your stuff, then you don't need to focus so much on the organic. Does that make sense? You don't have to go viral because you're getting the predictable traffic all the time. So when it comes to the videos, you can be pretty loose. You can talk about what you've done, today, like how you've helped a client, how you just hopped on a call with a client, your story of how you were struggling, the things that you struggle with, and how doctors didn't help you, or whatever. So you can be very loose with the organic because the ads are just getting the traffic problem solved for you. So hopefully that answers that. Another question, yes, thank you. I'm struggling with the low ticket offering. Most people should focus on high ticket. Most people. And I know high ticket is scary because you're like, holy crap, like I need to charge this person a few $1,000, but it's like if someone's really struggling with that problem, they would pay for it. Like if I hopped on this call right now and I said, guys, I've got a Lamborghini for sale for $10,000, you guys would probably do whatever you can to find that 10 grand and pay me because it's so valuable. So the same thing goes for your coaching or your service. If they're really struggling, they really need the solution, I would just focus on the high ticket. If you've got a solid clientele of high ticket people that are coming to you and that's kind of dialed in, you can be like, okay, there's probably a lot of people in my audience, in my email list that are like, need to get a bit of a taste of how they can work with me. And then you can introduce low ticket. So it's kind of like you want to validate the high ticket, get great results, work with people, get good client results, and then you can think of low ticket and that stuff later. Hopefully that makes sense. Um, have you ever used AI to make content? Yes. I use it for scripting mainly because um, scripting is something that with AI can save you a lot of time. Um, have I ever used like AI baby versions of me to make content? Not yet. I don't think I will. But I think for scripting content, it's very good. So for copywriting, it's good. For email marketing, it's good. And that's what I use AI for scripting. Um, Obviously there's ChatGPT bots and stuff that you can do, that you can create unique ones. But for purely content creation and what we're talking about here, I think scripting is good. Um, but yeah, we're not going to get into the whole AI rabbit hole, but for scripting, definitely. I like I like the hourly approach. Hopefully I understood that. Um, Let me just see. Do you use LinkedIn for coaches targeting professionals? Does it work? LinkedIn also has an ad platform. I've never used the ad platform on LinkedIn. I have a LinkedIn page, right? I haven't used it in a while. LinkedIn, Jay Hyatt. But I haven't used this page in quite a while, to be honest. But I'm pretty sure I've even got my old thing here. But I'm pretty sure there's a way to run ads on LinkedIn. I think it's fairly new. But I would use LinkedIn, the ads platform, the same exact way. I would get them to your profile. I would make sure that, they follow you or interact with a certain post. Maybe you can run a certain post as an ad. They read it or they watch it. They comment a keyword to get also a resource. I think you can do the exact same thing with this. Again, just lead them to YouTube. Um, You can pretty much do the same thing. But I want to make sure I'm 100% sure there's an ads platform. I've never used it, but there's definitely an ads platform. I need to look more into it. But I think you can do the exact same thing. Um, so yeah, hopefully that answers that. Um, cool. Let's get into a bit more on the ads manager stuff because this is where things get a bit more technical. This is the ads manager kind of campaign on the campaign level. And I'm not going to go full backwards of how to find this page, but I think you can search it up on YouTube or something. But there's a few different ads that you can run if you're running a service-based business through here. I'll go into kind of more like a beginner-friendly thing, and then we can go into like advanced. Um, but let's get into things. So the one thing that I wanted to touch on is retargeting ads, which is very underrated and it's very cheap to run as well. So, what are retargeting ads? Basically, when people visit a website, visit your Instagram page, visit any kind of thing, you can retarget those people with more content. So, some of you guys might have an Instagram page, you never run ads before, but you could spend $1, $2 a day on a retargeting ad, send them a piece of content to take a certain action. So let's get into that. You guys still awake, or is it getting a bit long? Okay.
No, this is all good, Jay. This is and very much needed because we've got some training on ads and stuff like that, but we've never spoken about retargeting and all this type of stuff that's included in the training. So, yeah, this is great stuff.
So this is the, I just went to audiences. Um, and here we can create an audience. And we're going to create a custom audience. So this is an audience that basically we're creating ourselves. So there's lots of different options that you can do. We're going to do a specific thing today, but you can explore this as well. So let's say website. Let's say you're sending a lot of traffic to your website and they're constantly hitting that website. You can put a pixel on that website. I won't get into that now, but you can put a pixel on there that tracks who's going on that website. And from there, if people land on your website, you could send them a specific piece of content. I'm not sure about these both. This is, I think, for e-commerce. This is for like app activity, customer list. If you've got a lot of previous customers, maybe you've got a huge amount of people that bought a low ticket product, you can export all of the emails that bought that previous product and make a custom audience around that group of people. Offline activity, we're not getting into that. This is lemonade stand type stuff. But what's important is like Instagram account, your social media, where you're driving the majority of your traffic. Okay, so we're going to do this for Instagram. So let's click Instagram account. Cool. Let me just make sure this is my right one. Okay, so this is my Instagram account. So what I can do is I can choose here different options. Who started following me, who started engaging with me, who started visiting my profile, all of these different options. I'm just going to click this one. This just encompasses the biggest audience. And this is everyone who engaged with this professional account. So who visited this profile or took an action, liked the post, saved something, carousel, anyone that visited this. And you can do this is the maximum, I think, 365 days. You can also do 180 days. So past 6 months, that's also a very good thing to do. So we'll actually, for the purpose of this, we can just do the past 6 months. And we can give this a name. So we can call this like Instagram all engagers 180, something like that. And we can just copy this, paste it in here. I'll just create this audience for the purpose of this training. It might take a second. Okay, it's done. And now it's populating. So now it's going to say below 1,000, but it's still kind of gathering that audience right now. And what do we do from here? So this custom audience is basically an option that we can click now when we make an ad to target people. So let's do the menopause example. Let's say you've got a free training, or let's say the one VSL that you want people to watch. You can be like, hey, I saw that you took a look at my Instagram profile and you're struggling with menopause. You don't really know what to do. Well, guess what? I made a full 20-minute training that's going to show you exactly how to overcome pain problem, overcome pain problem, overcome pain problem. If you simply DM me this keyword, I'll send it over. And we'll get into how that can run. So basically, you can run these very cheap ads to people that have already seen your face before, and you get pushed a certain piece of content. Some of you guys might be like experiencing this before. Maybe you visited a website, or maybe you went on a certain profile and you see this guy's face everywhere. I don't know about you, but you guys probably know Iman Gaji. Do you guys know Iman Gaji? At some point, I got a bunch of ads from him everywhere because it was retargeting constantly. Constantly, you see his face because he's retargeting you all the time. And that's how it works. And like I said, the good thing about this is it's very cost effective. So what we're going to do, we're going to click create, and there's a few different options here. So this is depending on the business you're running, right? Sales, this is more like for e-commerce, that type of thing, like just instantly like buying like a t-shirt or something. And this is the objective. So what is the objective of the ads that you're running? Do you want people to buy from you immediately? If you got a high ticket product or service, it's probably very, very unlikely people are going to buy from you immediately, right? This is app promotion. I don't think any of you guys have an app. Leads, right? Do you want like people's emails? Do you want to have a conversation? Do you just want traffic? Do you want awareness? Awareness is kind of like when you're just focused on reach, which is something where let's say you just want to put awareness about a certain event that you have, you can do that. But for the majority of you guys, you're going to do traffic or engagement. So traffic is okay, I can't move my thing here. But you see how it says Instagram profile visits? That's the same thing that we did on Instagram before when we click boost, just Instagram profile visits. What you could do, here's two options. Let's say, for example, people clicked your ad, the ad that we boosted, went on your Instagram profile, and they're like, oh, I'm not going to follow. They still visited your Instagram profile, so we can still retarget them. So maybe we just retarget them once more. So you can run an ad where you're, you know, saying like, hey, check out my profile again. Here's another like reminder that you guys should follow me. So let's just click traffic for now. But there's also engagement. So what is engagement? Engagement is where the call to action on the ad is message me. You might have seen these. It says message me, and then you can get in conversation with the person. This is very good for high ticket because you can just get in direct conversation. You can ask them questions. You can send voice messages. It's very personal, and it's a good place to convert. And both of these options are very good. So you can retarget and start a conversation. You can retarget and just make sure you get more people following you. Both of these work. For most people, I would honestly just do traffic, just reminding people to follow you. Once they follow you, you can start a conversation like that. So let's click traffic. Let's go continue. For most people, actually, I'm just going to say it blatantly because it's simple. Don't do recommended settings. Sometimes Meta messes you up and doesn't give you as much freedom. So just click manual. So now we've got a bunch of confusion for you guys. No, I'm kidding. But in first glance, this is going to look a little bit obnoxious. It's going to look confusing, but I'm going to try to break it down simple for you guys to understand. So here's the new traffic campaign. So we're just going to title this so we know what the hell we're doing here. Okay, so we're going to do retarget, and then we're going to do like profile visits. Oops, profile visits. Because we want to make sure we get more followers, right? Maybe we boosted that ad, they landed on our page and they didn't follow us yet, and we just want to give a little reminder. By the way, you don't have to run these ads if you don't run the boosted ad before. You guys can be making organic content without running any ads and still run these to remind people to follow you. So profile visits, and what I like to do is put in the hook of the ad, just so you know what it is. So let's say this is menopause. Because we like that example. So we know what we're doing. Okay, campaign objective traffic, that's exactly what we want. And all of these buttons I would leave unchecked. What this does is basically you can run multiple ads at the same time with a certain budget. And depending which one performs better, it's going to slowly adjust the budget to the one that's performing better. Okay? You can click this and it makes it easy because it does automatically adjust the budget. Let's say you've got 3 ads, right? And you're putting $10 a day or $2 a day, whatever. It will slowly be like, oh, this ad's performing better. We're going to move most of the budget to the ad that's performing best. I don't actually like to click this because I like to have control and just turn things off myself. So I would just leave this for the most part unchecked. Okay, next. So let's just call this retarget, oops, or just RT, all engagers, or let's just do IG, all engagers 180. So we know exactly who this is targeting. Okay, so message destinations. Okay, because on this ad account, I haven't connected my Instagram, but I would normally just click Instagram or the main platform that you're using to, gather and have conversations. So I would just click Instagram on this case. If you use Facebook a bunch, then click Facebook. Oh wait, let me just see. This one is the one you want to click, by the way. Send traffic to Instagram profile, Facebook page, or both. Okay. So let's just click this one. Okay, in this case, like I said, I can't click here, but you want to click Instagram or Facebook, and then the one that you want to choose. So here it says the goal is maximize number of like Facebook or Instagram page visits. So people visiting your page. At the end of the ad, you have to make sure that you say, follow me on Instagram if you want to learn how to overcome menopause, how to grow your business, how to improve your Excel spreadsheets, how to grow your business with AI, whatever your business is about, make sure you have a call to action so they know why they're following you. Okay, so let's do daily budget. Let's just do like $2 a day. Like very simple. You can do $2, $3 a day. Retargeting doesn't have to cost very much. You can keep it very, very simple, very easy, and just do it like this. And that means that every single day people are being retargeted by this ad to go on your profile and follow you. Okay. So let's scroll down. This bid control, I wouldn't worry about this stuff. There's a lot of unnecessarily scary things here. Okay. So this is the important part. Okay. So here it's going to have this advantage plus audience, which means it's just going to target whoever it feels like. We want to control it. So we're going to do switch to original audience options here. And remember, we made a custom audience just now. That's what we're going to click on. Okay. So we're going to click here and look, it's already coming here. IG, all engagers 180. Click here. And now this custom audience is targeted. So now it's targeting all the people that followed me, or sorry, that engaged on my page or visited my page in the past 6 months. Okay. So £3, custom audience, all engages. Now here it's got a button. Reach people beyond your custom audience when it's likely to improve performance. I mostly don't click on it. I just want people that's engaged or been on my page. Now, depending on how big your audience is, you might want to click this. Let's say you're maybe got like 500 followers, maybe 600, 700, 800 followers. You might want to click this just to make sure you've got enough people to retarget. If you've got a bit more, if you've got a bigger audience, you don't really need it. Here we'll see on the side how big the audience is. Okay. Then you want to change your locations, who you're targeting, UK, US, Australia, Canada, all the countries that can maybe afford your program or that speak the language. Age, gender, you can change depending on what you like to do. And that's pretty much it. Placements, you can always change the placements. So where this ad is actually being shown. What I like to do, especially for Instagram, is I want it to be seamless. I don't want people to see it's an ad. I want it to be basically undetectable from their regular actions. So we can go in and because I've not got my Instagram connected, nothing is showing, but there's going to be a bunch of clicks on here. What I like to click is Instagram stories, right? So they get a video there. The Instagram Reels, right? Where is that? Instagram Reels here. And just the places where people naturally go on. For example, I don't want my ad on the search results because it looks sketchy. People don't see ads there. I don't want my ads by the explore page because it's not where you naturally go. I just want to put my ads where people naturally, consume content. So stories, reels, that type of place. Like I said, my Instagram's not connected to this ad account, but normally I would click Instagram feed. I would click Instagram stories, Instagram reels, those type of places. Okay, think about yourself. Where do you guys naturally consume content? And click those places. Okay, let's go next. So the next part is the actual ad. So we're going to call it, let's say you made the ad about menopause and following you because you can help people with their menopause. Select image or video, that's great. Unclick this. It just means your ads aren't shown next to other ads. Set up creative video ad and you upload it here. Okay, this is where you upload your ads. You click next, give it a title. It's very simple. When you have your Instagram connected, by the way, you can also click the ad if you've already posted it to your Instagram as well. That also works. Okay, tracking, leave it all how it is, and click publish. Very, very, very simple. Some of you guys might be a bit more advanced. You want to split test and test different ads. You can also, let's say you just completed it, just like we did right now. maybe you want to test another variation. So what you can do is you can click here on the campaign, on the audience level, and you click duplicate. Oops, I just zoomed in by accident. You click duplicate here, and now you've got a copy of the exact same ad. What are you going to do? You're going to get rid of this. Maybe you put in the name of the second hook that you gave. So maybe you say women or something, or like struggling with menopause. Maybe that's the next hook. With menopause, you make sure that you keep track of which ad is which ad. You change the name here so you know which it is, and you keep the targeting, everything the exact same. The only thing you change is the actual video. So you go here, you click the video, and then you click the second ad that you want to test. Maybe it's just a slight variation of it. Okay, so now we've got this ad running at $3 a day, this ad running at $3 a day. You run it. After a few days, you can see, oh, this ad is actually performing better. I'm getting more profile visits from this ad. And then you turn off the other one, and then you're good to go. And that's how you can keep testing and seeing which one that is performing the best. Does that make sense, guys? I know it's getting a bit technical, a bit boring here, but that's a simple thing that you guys can do to make sure you get the right people on your page and you nurture them with your content. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it certainly does, Jay. And don't forget, everything is recorded as well. So if we're not catching it first time round, if it's a little bit technical, it's all going to be in the members area. So you can always go back over it as many times as you want to. All right. Good stuff.
Cool. So that's kind of like the retargeting side of things. There's obviously, like I mentioned when I started running this, you can also do the same with people can message you a keyword to get a training, and then you can start a conversation. Okay. So I'll just briefly, it's basically the exact same. Um, Wait, I need to go here. Make sure you go to the campaign level when you want to make a new campaign, because all of this is selected. Let's say you want to start new conversations with people. You can click engagement. Click manual, just like we've done just now. Do the exact same thing. I'm not going to run through the exact same process. You click your Instagram. All right, that's where you want to have conversations with people. Message destinations, Instagram. The goal is you want to have as many conversations as possible. You put a budget. Maybe this one you put at $15 a day. Oops, 15. Okay, this is does it not think? Okay, there's some bug here, but I'm just gonna. Okay, there was some bug, but I'll just do it 20 for now. Um, Audience controls. You can do the exact same thing, right? Click the custom audience that we just made. All the people that visited your profile over the past 6 months. If you're making content, if you're if you're boosting posts and people are going on your page, some people won't take action. Maybe they need a reminder. So you can run this ad, put it to the custom audience, just like we've done before, and you can start a conversation with them. Okay? Cool. Next, you give it a title just like we've done before. See, this one is clicked here. We don't want that. We want this unclicked. We do it's the same exact ad script, guys. The only difference is at the end, instead of saying follow me to learn how to achieve certain outcome, you say follow me. Actually, no, you don't say follow me. You say message me this keyword and I'll send over a certain asset or a certain video or a certain checklist. Okay, you set up the creative just like we've done before. This is the only difference with the messaging is they have this little section, right? Message template. Okay. So we're going to click edit. This is how it looks like, right? This is the ad at the top and it says, hey, please let me know how we can help you. I just get rid of everything. I keep it very simple. And I just put in the keyword that they have to send you. So maybe the keyword is belief, right? Or menopause or brand, right? Let's go back to my Instagram where I can remind you of the ads that I've been running that are let me just I think this isn't an ad. I need to find, I can't remember where I put the ad. This one. Um, so people are commenting the word belief here, right? This is the exact same thing, except this one is to a cold audience, right? So people that never seen me before, I'm running it. This is to people that have already seen you, and you're running this on the back end of Meta. So you can have the same keyword, right? Hi, or let's do menopause for the example of this, just to give you guys context. Or it can be the word Excel or the word business. Hi, please send me the word menopause and I'll send over my free training. Boom. So now when people click on the ad, they see this. Hi, message me the word menopause, and they literally have it set right there and they can press send. You actually don't need these things. They're already up here. And you can just click the word send and the same automation can trigger. Okay. There's lots of tutorials, by the way, on the automation thing that I use, the ManyChat. Um, but people can send you this keyword, and you can start conversations. You'll click save. I'll just click save for the point of this thing. So you can call it menopause keyword. You'll save the template, and you click save. So you're running this ad. You're saying, hey, message me the word menopause, and I'll send over my full comprehensive training that will show you exactly how to overcome it or to, stop certain symptoms. And you run this ad, right? Like I said, you're running it to people that have already seen your face. There's a lot of trust built, but maybe they haven't engaged with you in a conversation and you want to you want to egg that on a bit more. And you click publish. So those are the two main ways I would run ads for high ticket coaching businesses, service-based businesses, if you're an agency. Um, if you do anything on a high ticket basis, I would run these ads. Obviously, the boosted ads is the best one for cold, and this is the best for retargeting. Any questions so far about this? Otherwise, here's obviously the recording that you guys can go through. And yeah, this is exactly how I grow my business, and how I'd recommend you guys to do the same. And you don't need to spend a ton of money on ads as well. That's also a big thing. If you're posting weekly YouTube videos, if you're posting on Instagram, you have to spend a little bit of money on ads just to get more predictable traffic through, and then they'll be nurtured by your content. It doesn't matter. Is there a recommended time of day to advertise? No, it doesn't matter. Just get started. Basically, what Meta does, let's say, for example, you spend 20 bucks a day on an ad. Sometimes you will notice, oh, today Meta only spent 18 bucks and 62 cents. And you're like, oh, I thought I should be spending 20 bucks a day. The reason why is because they will shift your budget to the time of day when your audience is awake and where they're active. So at the end of the day, like Meta wants to make you guys profitable, so you keep paying them. So they're going to do whatever they can to make sure that your budget will go in the right places. So don't worry about what time to run them. Just run them and the rest will, be completed by itself. Does that answer the question? Cool. Any other questions about ads? Otherwise, I'm not sure how much time we still want to spend, but otherwise, I can run through a few of the, habits I would do to grow the business, but I think you guys. Okay, so when
Yeah.
it comes to, or
Oh,
Jay, did you want to say
yeah, I
something?
was going to quickly jump in there. Yeah, this ad stuff is great. And no doubt we can all implement a lot of this stuff, sort of stuff. What about just a quick question away from this in terms of organic? Yeah, as I say, to grow it organically, because there's some people out there that have just grown a massive organic following. Yeah,
Yep.
on like Instagram and stuff like that. How do they do that? We're like using ads. There's some people out there that's just got a massive following.
Yeah,
They're making lots of money, they're driving a lot of traffic, but they're not spending any money on ads. What do they do?
good question. So, I think, wait 1 second, I'll just try this quick thing out. Um, Sometimes I scribble on all of this board stuff for you guys. Basically, like with the organic, right? This is just organic, this is ads. Organic is great, and it's I'll just start from the beginning, right? Organic, the one thing that people always obsess over is views and followers and that type of thing with organic. So what tends to happen, let's say Marie makes a video on menopause and she gets only a little bit of views and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm doing this my business wrong. Like no one cares about me." And then she makes a video about women's health and then she gets a bit more views. And then she makes a video about women's self-improvement. She gets a bit of more views. And then she gets makes a video about improvement in general. She gets even more views. And now she's like, "Oh my God, I need to make more content like that." Organic loves broad content because when you're broad, you get a lot of people on your page, right? So, in my opinion, the way to make content and still like target the specific person that you want to target is you've got three different main buckets. You've got share content, right? Oops, that was glitchy a bit there. You've got share content. I'm just writing this with my mouse. You got share. So this is very broad. Maybe you're sharing a story. Maybe you're sharing something about menopause, but it can still apply to a lot of people, right? You're positioning it in a way where you're telling a story. Maybe you're giving a bit of health advice, a bit of self-improvement advice around women, and it gets a lot of people in the bucket, right? Because a lot of people can relate to that. However, if you only make this type of content, you get a very broad audience that doesn't care about your product. So it's important to have also other different layers of content, which the next one is solve, right? And keep in mind, guys, like this type of content is going to get the most views. Okay, it's glitchy. It's going to get the most views because it's the most broad. Solve content, maybe it's a bit more specific. Like, how do you deal with this certain symptom of menopause? Or how do you, um, what is the exact reasoning why most businesses need Excel sheets? Or, I don't know, you guys are in a lot of different niches, a specific thing that's tailored towards your audience. Okay, so this is going to get less views, but it's going to be a bit more targeted. Okay, so this is more like targeted content where people can get direct value from you. Okay, and the smallest amount of content that you're going to be making is sell content. So this is content like, oh, this is my student or this is my client X, Y, and Z, and they were able to make this amount of growth or this amount of progress, or maybe you talk about yourself and your journey and you know stuff like that. So it's a bit more very specific sell content where you're just promoting your services, you're teaching, getting awareness on what you do. So just to put it very easily for you guys, um, so I'll just do like testimonials, right? I'll just do it like that. Testimonials, transformations, right? Maybe you guys made a transformation you want to share. It's very specific. This transformation type content can also be considered share content, depending how broad it is. A lot of fitness transformations go viral because it's quite relatable for a lot of people, but it depends on the niche. Um, so just to break it up, like 60% of your content can be a little bit more broad if you just want to do purely organic, if you don't want to run any ads, etc. Right? 60% can just be sharing your journey, giving advice on health maybe, or the industry that you're in. There's going to be a percentage of these people that watch this content that relate to your solve content about the specific thing that you're talking about. And maybe this is another 30%. And the last part, this can be around 10%, right? So this is like you doing a client transformation, you talking about your program, that type of thing. Okay. But the key thing is with organic is you don't want to obsess too much about the growth and the numbers. There's been a lot of people that I've helped that had one guy had 800,000 followers on Instagram and he was struggling to get sales because he was attracting a bunch of people that were interested in comedy and entertainment, and not what he was actually doing, which was like fitness transformations. So, and then there's people with tiny audiences that make huge amounts of money. So, or just we're not speaking about money, like getting the right people on the page. Um, so you need to have a healthy balance of both. So make content to get awareness, right? So sharing, maybe you take it inspiration from a few trends that you've seen, right? Put your own spin on it in your niche, and you get a bit of awareness on your brand. And then maybe you make some content that's a bit more specific, solving their problems, talking about their pains, how you've overcome it, the systems you use, the unique mechanisms you use, and then some content about testimonials and your journey. Does that give a bit of an explanation?
Yeah, I really think that does. What about some of the different platforms? So we've spoken about Instagram, YouTube. What
Yeah.
about like content, Facebook content? Obviously, that's a similar to Instagram because it was owned by the same company. What about like TikTok? For us to be creating content and popping it on those platforms, maybe even using the ads on those platforms as well. What's your experience like with all of that, and how effective is it on other platforms like TikTok and anywhere else?
Yeah. For me, like I'm always a big fan of getting your face out there as much as you can, right? It's always a good thing to post everywhere. However, for most people, I think just focusing on one core platform and putting your all into it is best because you just have focus and you've got like you can post everywhere, but you can only grow on one platform at a time, in my opinion. Um, and that's why I think pick one platform that your audience tends to hang out in. If you're targeting lots of business people, I mean, Instagram has pretty much everyone nowadays, but maybe you want to target business people and you really like writing. Consider LinkedIn, right? If you're sorry, this was super ugly. LinkedIn. If you're an e-commerce platform or you got an e-commerce brand, consider TikTok, right? TikTok is full of e-commerce. Or maybe you want to do like, let me think, what does TikTok have? Like more of a younger generation, lots of trends, lots of e-commerce products are being sold on TikTok. Consider TikTok. If you really like ghostwriting or copywriting, right? Maybe you do LinkedIn, maybe you do Twitter, right? Or X, they call it now, right? So think about like where your audience tends to hang out and where your skills are, and then pick the platform there. Um, so let's say you're doing business, maybe you want to do some LinkedIn content, maybe you want to play with Instagram a little bit as well, but I would just pick the platform that you can stick to for the long term. But think about where your audience likes to hang out. So this is your dream avatar again, right? Your ICP, ideal customer profile. Where are they spending their time? If you're trying to target business executives, then it's most likely here. If you're trying to, get younger people or people to, let's say, buy your cosmetic products or whatever for an e-commerce brand, maybe you want to do content on TikTok or Instagram. If you're doing ghostwriting or copywriting or email copywriting, maybe do it on oops, maybe do it on X or Twitter. So that's how I would think about things. Um, I'm a bit biased with Instagram because I've just used that platform the most. Um, so Instagram does have a very wide capability, but you can do it on all of these platforms. Good? Okay, cool. Any other questions? Maybe if anyone wants to present what they're doing, what their business is.
I think Tris just had a quick question about
Okay.
comparisons. in the chat.
Having a price comparison online business, what's the best way to use ads for the business? Um, Maybe I'm not sure if I get it right off the bat. Having a price comparison online business, what's the best way to use ads for the business?
Right. Yeah. Just I'll give you a little bit of a heads up on that
Yeah.
one. So Tris is running a lead generation type business. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's companies out here that will fit water filters, install water filters into your home so that your taps and everything have automatically just got that filter. So we're doing lead generation for that business. Now we're just getting to a certain point with the business where we're now going to be driving lots of traffic initially, or one of the things of what we are going to do is Google Ads. Yeah, so we're going to do Google Ads. People type in water filter installation near me, and obviously Google Ads. We're going to do like a price comparison. So when they land on that website, they can compare water filter companies and go with the best option, just like some of these compare type websites. However, say for example, if we're going to use this with social media, are there any sort of tips or tricks of what spring to mind that
Yeah.
that you think of that would work for that business? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like Google Ads is definitely like you need to think of the industry you're in. Google Ads can definitely work. One thing that I do just want to bring to mind currently is these like ads that I spoke about before, the boosted ads, you can run them locally. So if let's say you are helping people in the local, I'm just gonna sh show a friend of mine. He's a videographer and he helps people in a very local area with their videography. So are you doing like actual in person, like working in person, or how is it? Or is it just local businesses that you're calling
It's
and
literally
helping?
local businesses that, so say for example, we will have a panel of people of five separate different companies, for example, all provide water filter installations, of which we just generate the leads and then almost
Get
sell
paid.
the leads onto
Yeah,
different water
yeah,
filters.
that's fine.
Yeah.
So like this, we can even look at his ad because the cool thing about the boosted ads is you can just tell where they are because they've got a lot more views than his other content. So let's take a look. Um, I'm pretty sure it's this one or like as a local service business in Santa Clarita, so that's very specific, right? In a very small place that he's from. He's just talking about, you know, what they shouldn't do, what they should do. He's a videographer, and he's talking about that in his specific industry. And he's saying, follow at the Knox King if you're a service business in Santa Clarita. So you can do something similar where you're saying, hey, are you a blah, blah, blah water filter in this area that is paying X amount for a lead or struggling with this pain problem? Well, I can get you leads for X amount cheaper without insert pain problem, insert pay problem, insert pay problem. And you can literally do like, as you can tell at the end, he said, follow me here on Instagram. So you could try that because then people already have a little bit of trust with you. They see your face. You don't have to do such a cool, fancy ad like this guy did, but you can run an ad in your area, call out the pain problem, and maybe you say, comment this keyword. I'll send over the full blueprint of how I'm able to get cheap leads for these companies. So you can also do this locally as well. And you can obviously, like, if your page is talking about lead generation and the things that you're doing for the company, they're going to be like, oh, like Tris, like he seems like he knows what he's doing. He's got all of this cool content. He's got a YouTube channel. He's telling me how I can generate leads. Um, and yeah, like that's something you can definitely try. Is just running an ad that is local, right? Remember when we clicked on the boosted, I clicked the countries. You just make it very specific in your area. And then you run that ad saying, "Hey, I'm gonna get you cheaper leads. This is how it works. Follow me if you want to learn how." So that's something you can try because having a brand behind what you're doing is always going to be a bit better because they can see your face. They can see or they can see what you're doing. And you don't have to be like outside. Like you can literally just make the ad like I've done these before where I'm just on my computer. Um, Like you can just literally do an ad like this, like, "Hey, are you a water filter company in um X area and you're struggling to get leads because blah 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 blah? If you are struggling, this is the system that I'm using to get leads cheaper. Just follow me here on Instagram and comment this keyword, and I'll send over training that could show you how. And you just run it in your local area. Keep in mind that obviously there's going to be way less people that are, that exact business in your area. So there's not going to be like, you're not going to get like a follower or like a message for like a few cents, right? It's going to cost a bit of money, like 5, 10, 20 bucks. But obviously that person is coming to you for the solution, and it's way more valuable than I'm not sure how the Google ads work, but putting up I'm not sure actually how Google ads, it's just like search optimization, right? When they search a certain keyword. Google ads is good as well though. I would definitely think about the Google ads because when they search for the problem in their area, you'll pop up. But this is something that you can try as well.
See, this is useful for because one of the challenges of what we've had is bringing on board suppliers. Like, so what you're showing here is using social media to get suppliers on board, like people that provide the service, and then maybe Google Ads to target the customers. So the everyday people that are going to be calling or Googling water filter installation near me, for example, Google Ads might work well for that. And then, but what you're showing us here is how to bring on board maybe potential new service providers that can do the installation.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Or another thing that you can do, if you know how to deliver the service purely online, you can be pretty broad as well with the targeting. Like, let's say you know how to do this for water businesses, not only locally, but maybe even worldwide. You could be like, I'm going to target all these different countries. I've done it before locally. This is how I did it locally. I can do it for you too. This is how you install it. Next thing you know, you're Alex Samosi, you're doing consulting and you're teaching the people how to do it, right? That's how he did gym launch. If you guys know Alex Hormozi, what he used to do is he used to go in person to gyms, set everything up, launch it, make a lot more money, and then go to the next gym and next gym and next gym. And then at some point he's like, oh man, like he got a call. It's like, can you just teach me how to do this? And then he's like, yeah, sure, just pay me $6,000. Okay, sure. And he got paid. And then after that, he's like, oh my God, like I can sell this to every gym in the whole world. And then he made millions and millions and millions. So you can do this locally, get a proof of concept, see how you can help these people. You can package this up and service this online because you're in a specific niche. So that's how you can think of the business. But I would definitely try the Google ads, try the local thing, have a proof of concept, get great results, and then you can go from there. Okay, cool.
All right. Any other questions, anyone? We've just gone past two. So, any more for any more? This is your chance. My main man, Mr. Jay Hyatt. So, this is your chance. Any final burning questions for anyone? Please pop it in the chat. Um, whilst anyone's just doing that, Jay, where can people find you? In terms of, what you offer, what sort of service you do.
Yeah.
Give everybody a bit of an insight.
Yeah, so I help personal brands, coaching businesses specifically. So people that are monetizing their knowledge into a coaching package. So that's fitness, business, dating, whatever niche you're in. I'll help you build the things that we spoke about today. So scripting the ads, what content to create, how to create good YouTube videos, to nurture people into believing in you, trusting you, and ultimately buying from you. Honestly, the easiest way to come in contact with me is just through my Instagram. So if you DM me, like a little hack, right? We're speaking about automations today. If you DM me the word one, ONE, an automation will trigger with some more information of how we can work together if you want to do that. But other than that, go to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel has also got a lot of value that you guys can go through, a lot more than what we spoke on today. And that's also gonna teach you a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, if you want to get in contact with me, just DM me the word one on Instagram and you'll get the information. You can do it now, you can test it, you'll get the information, and we can get in contact. But other than that, my YouTube is where you can get a lot more information about this stuff as well.